Joining us to go all out on this story is sports writer Josh Planos, and Josh is joining us live via Zoom from Nebraska in the United States of America. Hi Josh, good evening to you and good morning from Manila.
Thanks so much for having me, Andre.
Always looking sharp. No, thank you. The pleasure is always ours, Josh. And I believe our last conversation prior to this one was when we talked about Serena Williams and her evolving away from tennis, and now we're about to see the end of the road to one of the most prolific careers in the sport of tennis. Your thoughts first on Roger Federer announcing his retirement.
Well, Andre, Roger Federer exits as probably the greatest men's tennis player of all time. But more than the 20 Grand Slam titles, the 8 Wimbledon titles, he leaves a legacy of perfection. He was the most well-rounded tennis player probably to ever live, and he truly brought tennis into the homes of millions of people around the globe who otherwise wouldn't have come across the sport. So I'm not sure you could ask for much more out of a single person, a single athlete, but he was the consummate good guy, and he always made it look effortless on the court, which is, of course, a testament to his work ethic and the countless hours that he put into the sport. But he was a singular talent, and we're probably never going to see a talent like his ever again.
You did say that most well-rounded tennis player ever we've seen, and arguably can go down one of the greatest who ever played tennis. But what else? What kind of legacy should the kids of this generation and even future generations should remember Federer off? Like, what kind of legacy will he be leaving?
Sure. I mean, for me, Roger is the reason I picked up a racket. The first slam he won at Wimbledon in 2003 is one of the first memories I had of the sport. I specifically bought his model of racket when I started training to play throughout my high school years. So he's a singular presence in the tennis world. He really made tennis fun and cool for generations of people. I think he made tennis look easier than anyone. He was an incredible well-rounded player, right? He had a fantastic serve, but he was also a defensive specialist. He had a great offensive arsenal, and the sport really evolved quite a bit over his career, and yet he seemed willing and able to adapt at every turn, right? And when he first came into the game, there was serve and volley specialists, there was defensive specialists, there were offensive specialists, but really when it became a baseline to baseline attacking style of sport, he really adapted his game completely to that and found success regardless of what era he was competing in.
Well, he did play in an era where he dominated men's tennis, to say the least, along with Nadal and Novak Djokovic. They were regarded as the big three, collectively considered by some to be the 3 most successful male tennis players of all time. I ask you this: where does Fed rank in your list? You did say probably the greatest of all time, but where does he rank? Because, of course, names like Djokovic, who's still playing, Nadal is up there, Pete Sampras. Where does Fed rank among all the greats who have played tennis in the singles Grand Slam events?
It's easy to say it today because of the timeliness of the announcement, but I really think that he's probably the greatest player right now. I think Nadal could pass him. I think Djokovic could pass him when all's said and done. I'm not sure the data will point to him being the greatest when all, the big three ultimately all retire. But in terms of being well-rounded, I mean, he won everywhere, right? He's probably the greatest hard court player of all time. I think that's a given. And certainly, we know what Nadal does at Roland Garros, but to me, what he did for the sport was singularly great. There's not a single athlete out there who has grown the men's tennis more than Roger Federer did. And I think that is an incredible legacy and something that we should honor. On a day like today when he, decides he's going to hang it up.
I respect that. I really do. Sincerely. He's a versatile all-court talent. And Fed was ranked world number 1 by the ATP for 310 weeks, including a record 237 consecutive weeks, has finished as the year-end number 1 5 times, has won the 103 ATP singles titles, including 20 Grand Slam singles titles, a record men's singles 8 Wimbledon titles. Man, the Open era record-tying 5 men's singles U.S. Open titles and a record 6-year and championships. Just to say the least, this guy's credentials and accomplishments on the tennis court is just so long. But you personally, Josh, you said you did pick up a tennis racket. You were inspired by Fed back in 2003, if I heard it correct. What is your favorite Roger Federer moment among all those many, many, many moments that he will be leaving us with?
So I think the winning 5 consecutive U.S. Opens is pretty astonishing, right? Like I said, he's without question the greatest hard court player of all time. But also, Roger was really open about his anxiety that he felt being in front of large crowds. And at Flushing Meadows, those fans are right on top of you, right? New Yorkers are not going to be quiet about their feelings, about how you're playing. So I mean, some of those games, stretched into 2 o'clock in the morning, and thousands and thousands of people are shouting at him, and he just looked cool, calm, and collected, like Roger always did. But to do it there, especially, I think with how boisterous and how loud the fan base is there, I think is just incredible and really a testament to his poise under pressure. I mean, you never saw Roger flustered. He was always operating at his tempo, at his speed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't even put into words what it means to win 5 consecutive U.S. Opens. That's just unheard of.
Yeah, it's just he seems like a really nice guy as well. It's not hard to like him because he smiles. He's so friendly to the fans, and the way he addresses the fans every time he wins. But his competitiveness is just unmatched on the tennis court. Now, off the players, do you see somebody as the next Roger Federer? I know that's really tough, but is there someone that can even come close to what Roger Federer has done on the tennis court?
Well, to fit the bill, you need to be completely well-rounded. So I know we talk about this guy all the time. His potential is seemingly limitless. Demeanor aside, I think Nick Kyrgios is the active player who most resembles Federer, right? He's got the magic hands at the net. He's got the big serve. He's got a well-rounded game. He can play a variety of different styles. He, of course, does not have the mindset or the poise that Roger has, but in terms of overall skill set, I think Nick Kyrgios looks an awful lot like Roger Federer.
Interesting pick. Nick Kyrgios, of course, he still has a lot left in his tank, and it's interesting to see his career develop even more. And let's see if someone can indeed be, or someone close to, can even come close to Roger Federer. Josh, as always, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Sincerely here on the show. Stay safe. Happy weekend. Regards to the wife. And go rest up, man, after that trip from Dallas, Texas. You're going to need the weekend to rest up. Thanks, Josh, and we'll be talking to you again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Andre.
That was sports writer Josh Planos joining us live via Zoom from Nebraska in the United States. Now from